aggrieved family.
As police, you know that when we are carrying out investigations, it really needs some ample time. We urge the relatives to remain calm, to be patient as we carry out investigations, because this is not a simple case.
According to the police spokesperson, they need more time to look into this matter.
It is a suspected murder case, so we really need enough time to carry our investigations.
But as we let the police handle its investigations, we hear of a new twist into the murder of Patrick. A twist that involves an invisible hand.
Tata wa Diana na connectinga n'aba abaami. Tata wa Diana najja n'agamba nti baba wadde $5,000,000. Bali Abachina nti baba wadde $5,000,000 muki aba family miliyoni zeze 5 ne bazibawa aba family ne bazikkiriza era nange namwandu ne bampita nze nga namwandu sina kyenyinza kuwakanya nange ne nkola ki nenzikiriza atadde badana akutte $5,000,000 azikoze ki azituwadde.
According to Esther, she claims that Diana's father offered to help in the negotiations between her family and the Chinese to not proceed with the case. Diana's father being referred to here is Charles Mutasingwa. Charles is Diana Mutasingwa's father, the Minister of State in the office of the President. It's alleged that Charles Mutasingwa used her influence over this poor vulnerable family to frustrate their quest for justice.
Ekyamazima bwabanga nti obwenkanya wa $5,000,000 nganze namwandu bwe yawa family ezo $5,000,000 tezisobola kulabirira baana abo.
This payment was after a rigorous family meeting together with Charles Mutasingwa as a representative of the Chinese. Bogere chaired the meeting. We spoke to him and his recollection of regrets.
Twate tulina kyakola bagamba nti nno tezifudda dda naki na lusombo kyovola batwakkiriza ne tugamba ateekeko muki yadde tetwali bamativu naye twakkiriza.
Diana Mutasingwa is vocal in raising concerns about compensation of workers, delayed or inadequate compensation, and labor protection. She stands out as a pro-people person.
I don't think if I was protecting the investors that are doing the wrong things in the community, I wouldn't be here for a second term. Because everyone that knows me knows that I'm pro-people. And anything that affects my people affects me. I have had issues with many of the investors in my area because I protect the rights of my people. Because once I was voted into parliament to protect my people and to be the voice of my people. So anything that affects my people affects me.
Quite intriguing is why she is now being framed on the other side of the law in regards to protecting the rights of her own people.
That is rumors. That is rumors. I don't know about that because if that came to my notice, I would, because we have industrial courts. They should be taken to court, arrested if they killed somebody. If somebody had an issue, that should have been done. That is because if I am to know about those issues, the chairman is supposed to communicate to me and tell me there is an issue that happened here and this should have been done, this is what is happening. But if I'm not able to get that, I'm not able to solve that issue. So I feel that is, I don't know about that.
Diana expressed no knowledge in regards to the murder case. It is a disturbing conversation for her to hold with us. She immediately asked us to cease and desist this conversation. NBS Investigates, however, reached out to Charles, Diana's father and political mentor, who is said to have been the anchor in discussions between the Chinese suspected murderers and the deceased's family. Charles didn't want to appear in front of our cameras, but openly confessed knowledge of the murder case and his involvement in negotiating the withdrawal of the case from police. He said, and I quote, "I was only helping." Charles asserted that negotiating the withdrawal of the case with a 5 million bounty, it was a favor to the widow. Charles provided more evidence of undertakings so as to withdraw from the case. The family being illiterate, the agreements were written in Luganda. Key to note in here is that the family agreed. We are not demanding anything further from the Chinese and we have withdrawn the case. This is an action that has come haunt the widow, who is believed to have been coerced to ignorantly sign off the justice for her husband. And when we asked him why he guided them that way, Charles suggested otherwise to the family.
We're taking over everything. Let them bring money back.
Obwenkanya bwenjagala yamazima omuntu ye yafa yakola ki naye nina abaana sirina buyambi nina abaana abato balwala basoma nina omu nnyumba naye wakulabirira wakugulira ddagala buli nnaku kulabirira bulabirizi kati tandibadde nfuna obwenkanya at least ne banyamba nenfunayo gyenfuneeyo nensobola olabirira abaana abo.
The Anti-Corruption Act 2009 explicitly criminalizes influence peddling. Under this act, the offense occurs when someone uses their real or imagined influence to improperly persuade a public official or authority to make a favorable decision for themselves or a third party. It is legally categorized as a form of corruption and is actively investigated and prosecuted by anti-corruption.
Any person who causes another to be released when police is investigating, when that person is not a police officer, when that person is not a DPP, when that person is not in any way connected to the investigations of the matter, would be deliberately using their office to peddle influence. That would be corruption, it's a corrupt practice, and the idea that it would be criminal. What is happening though, the challenge is you find the very people who are supposed to be enforcing the law, for instance, the police officers, sometimes fear, either out of the widespread impunity, the widespread corruption, and even fear sometimes of their jobs.
When it comes to law, no one is above the law. And as I've said that we are still carrying out with the investigations. So we humbly request for the relatives to be patient. Since the case is still running, we shall come back to you when we've gotten other information as advised by the RSA.
The Chinese murder case in Buongole is a clear case of influence peddling. It's a matter that NBS Investigates has looked into for some time and can authoritatively affirm that indeed a life was lost, but no justice has been served. Several months later, Esther has not received any report regarding the death of her husband or any efforts from the police to look into her plea for justice. Esther has lost all hope to find justice.
Police terina kyetuyambye ku nsonga y'okunoonyereza ku kufa kw'abazee wange. Kuba bwe twamala okuzika bandibadde badda naye tewaali kyaddako n'essaawa ya leero.
She lost a breadwinner, a father and a husband, and she is deeply hurt by the injustice she faces from those who should have protected her.
Kirabika mulimu omunene. Omusango gwo ensonga lwaki gwakola ki? Omusango ogwo senga tegwalimu munene. Banimpadde ebbaluwa y'eddwaliro. Ebbaluwa y'eddwaliro eba yaabwe. oba ebayo nga afiiriddwa omuntu.
NBS Investigates has not received any update regarding the inquiry into the murder file CRB 021/2026 of Awan Patrick Senkungu, and neither has his family. We, however, later learned that the 5 Chinese nationals suspected in this murder have all been moved out of the country back to their home country, China. Esther's quest for justice now hangs in balance as police continues to appeal for more time to investigate the matter. We can only sound a reminder to the powers that be: justice delayed is justice denied. And this is NBS Investigates.